Hello, YouTubers. Got a special edition of election news for you this evening. I have for you is off of Breitbart.com. Hillary Clinton tops Middle East Forum's Islamist money list. This forum has released its 2015-16 Islamist money in politics list and recipients of contributions from Islamic organizations in Hillary Clinton list. According to Middle East Forum, their list tracks political donations from individuals who subscribe to the same Islamic supremacism as Khomeini, bin Laden, and ISIS. Clinton has received a total of $41,165 from individuals Forum described as prominent Islamists, including $19,249 from senior officials on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR. Declared a terrorist organization by the United Arab Emirates on November the 15th. Republican Party candidate Donald Trump and Libertarian Party candidate Gary Johnson took no money from Islamists, according to the report. Green Party candidate Jill Stein has reportedly accepted $250, while defeated Democratic Party candidate Senator accepted $9,285. Jill Stein accepted $250. Donald Trump and Gary Johnson have not received any Islamist money. Recent recipients of money from the enemy include Representative Keith Ellison, $17,370, and Representative Andre Carson, $13,225. The list includes 9 Democrats, 1 Independent, Sanders, and no Republicans. Hillary Clinton has been a fierce critic of Donald Trump's proposal for freeze on Muslim immigration to the United States. We are a country founded on religious freedom and liberty. How do we do what Trump has advocated without causing great distress within our country? Clinton said earlier this month. Religious tests when people fly into our country. Political donations. The Clinton Foundation has received millions from Islamic countries. Saudi Arabia, dominated by radical Sunni and ruled by Sharia law, donated up to $50 million, while the Emirate of Qatar has donated between $1 million and $5 million. According to Clinton's own State Department, Qatar human rights violations include trafficking in persons, racial and cultural discrimination against women, limited in society. That I have for you is off of Veritas, or ProjectVeritasAction.com. And all these URLs are in the description of the video if you'd like to take a look at them. This would be a good one for you to bookmark and go back and check other videos that they have up, because this is video number 3 that they're talking about, rigging the election. Video 3, Creamer confirms Hillary Clinton's involvement. Videos that they have, you can go to that website and check it all out. It says Project Veritas Action has released the 3rd video in a multi-part series that is sending shockwaves through the DNC and the Clinton campaign. First video explained the dark secrets and hidden connections in organizations the Clinton campaign uses to incite violence at Trump rallies. The second video exposes a diabolical step-by-step voter fraud strategy Democratic operatives and showed one key operative admitting that the Democrats have been rigging elections for 50 years. The latest video takes this investigation even further. Part 3 of the undercover investigation dives further into the backroom dealings of Democratic politics. It exposes prohibited communications between Hillary Clinton's campaign, the DNC, and the nonprofit organization Americans United for Change. Is a duck. Several Project Veritas undercover journalists catch Democracy Partners founder directly implicating Hillary Clinton. In the end, it was the candidate Hillary Clinton, the future president of the United States, who wanted ducks on the ground, says Creamer in one of several exchanges. So by God, we'd get ducks on the ground. That high-level DNC operative Creamer realized that this direct coordination between democracy partners in the campaign would be damning when he said, "Don't repeat that to anybody." It was earlier this year when people wearing Donald Duck costumes started showing up at Donald Trump events all over the country. Brad Woodhouse is the president of Americans United for Change, or UFC, and he worked with Robert Creamer, Scott Fovall, and DNC Rapid Response Coordinator Aaron Black to launch their Donald Duck campaign. Video in this series, Woodhouse fired Scott Fovall, his national field director. The operatives go on to explain their plot. Let me tell you something. I think she, Hillary Clinton, has the right instinct on this. This thing is resonating. But that story is not exactly what you want to hear about how presidential decision-making happened, said Woodhouse. However, the originator of the Donald Duck scheme was supposed to remain secret. On to add, I was actually on a plane to go to London last week. Christina Reynolds, Deputy Communications Director for Hillary for America, called saying, "I have good news and bad news. The good news is the candidate would like to have a mascot following around the duck, I mean Trump. As if the future president wants ducks, we will put ducks on the ground." Hillary Clinton and DNC wanted the Donald Duck agitators at the Trump and Pence campaign events and direct involvement of the campaign and the Democratic National Committee with Americans United for Change and activists wearing Donald Duck costumes smack strongly of illegal coordinated campaign expenditures. Federal campaign law experts have told us the ducks on the ground are likely public communications for purposes of the law. It's politically active opposing Trump, paid for by Americans United for Change funds, but controlled by Clinton and her campaign. Of Clinton campaign were on a daily conference call with PVA journalists, witnessed with Creamer, AUFC managers, and their operatives. They were talking about where to send the duck and the duck's message. Not only was the campaign in on it, but apparently Donna Brazil's Democratic National Committee was in on it as well. After last week's stories released by Project Veritas Action, Change fired Scott Fovall, and Robert Creamer announced to the DNC that he was stepping down from the campaign's responsibilities. James O'Keefe and Project Veritas Action have filed a complaint with the Federal Elections Commission. The Action Fund, aka Project Veritas Action, was founded by James O'Keefe to investigate and expose corruption, dishonesty, self-dealing, waste, fraud, and other misconduct. The article that I have for you is off of thecommonsenseshow.com. Clinton's nation's 3 strategies designed to steal the election. Clinton campaign thugs have been reduced to a very narrow range of strategies to defeat Donald Trump, and it's not working. Strategy number 1, smear Donald Trump with fake sexual allegations. The Clintons are using the age-old strategy that's been used against them, namely smear Donald Trump with false allegations. 9 women have suddenly appeared on the eve of the election to make sexual abuse allegations against Donald Trump. Witness, not one of the women filed a police report when the alleged event happened. Not one of these women was angry enough or greedy enough to file a civil suit. If their case would have had any merit whatsoever, they would have had a minimum the opportunity to obtain a lucrative out-of-court settlement. Now we're supposed to believe the fiction that their only concern is for the welfare of the country. This strategy, like the piling on strategy employed by the elite GOP during the primary elections, backfired. And this is the backfiring as well. 2. Discourage Trump supporters from voting with rigged polls. We need to begin to educate Trump supporters far and wide that the polls have a very poor track record of being correct. Even the entity, U.S. News, vilifies the use of polls in accurately predicting election results. In 2012, his own campaign polls, among others, predicted Mitt Romney, the Republicans' nominee, would defeat President Barack Obama for the presidency, but just barely. A survey in Kentucky strongly suggested then Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, perhaps the shrewdest, most powerful Republican in Washington, who has lost seat to an upstart rookie Democrat. Obviously, neither event ever came close to happening. Cliff Zukin, a polling expert at Rutgers University, stated that polls can no longer make fine distinctions. People can trust polls on broad issues like what voters are most concerned about, but not so much on political horse race. Pollster, political consultant, and president of Lake Research Partners at Washington, D.C. based polling firm, has seen kind of a steady decline. It's getting harder to reach people. It's also harder to get them to cooperate. Michael Trugok is a University of Michigan political science professor who specializes in polling and opinion surveys. And he has stated that polls cannot be trusted for a variety of reasons, and that he is in agreement with Gallup when they say the industry is in need of a major overhaul. What many of these experts are referring to is the death of legitimacy of public opinion polls due to insufficient sample size. When polls do not have enough participants, the results cannot be considered to be valid. The way that polls cover up this deficiency is to report an official sounding statistic that gives fake legitimacy to the results, as a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. In actuality, the legitimate poll would state something like, the statistical confidence level with regard to the accuracy of this poll is 95% or higher. The representation of this notice is usually expressed as a level of confidence, and it looks like this: P equals minus 0.05. If you don't see this statistic, the poll on its face is unreliable. The Tavistock Institute and the use of public opinion polls dating back to 1913, the Tavistock Institute used polls to shape public opinion into accepting Britain's entry into World War I. The plan to create public opinion through the fake reporting of bogus polling date has begun as a propaganda factory, Wellington House in London. Sir Edward Grey, the British Foreign Secretary at the time, installed Lord Northcliffe, Britain's most influential newspaper magnate. Lord Northcliffe's position was supervised by Lord Rothermere on behalf of the British Crown. The operational staff of Wellington House consisted of Lord Northcliffe and Arnold, according to John Coleman. John Coleman, the author of the classic book Conspirators' Hierarchy 300, was one of the first writers to call attention to the existence of Tavistock in 1969, and the rest, as they say, is history. Subsequently, we learned from Coleman's work that polls were designed to measure public opinion. They were designed to shape public opinion. One of the chief methods that unscrupulous polls use to report fake results is to select a biased sample. If one is using phone samplings to gather voting preferences, one merely needs to target neighborhoods which historically favor one party over the other in order to get the predetermined results that one is looking for. This violates the principle of random selection of subjects to poll, and this completely invalidates any survey results. Americans must be careful not to put any stock into public opinion polls. If America is to survive any length of time, Hillary Clinton cannot be allowed to occupy the White House. Whether you like him or not, Trump will slow down the process of the globalist takeover of America. He's the only option to the immediate and complete tyrannical takeover of America. We must be careful to not let phony polling results influence our perceptions and efforts in supporting Donald Trump. Most of all, Trump supporters must allow themselves to be discouraged from voting. It is only filled with propaganda and intellectual poison. Okay, strategy number 3. Bribe the Electoral College voters. I recently had a conversation with a person who was associated with ARSOF at the highest levels. He told me It is their business to know the political trend in America so they can best anticipate implications to their budgets and policies should shift. I was told by this person that Trump right now has support of 65% of the voters who are most likely to vote. The biggest challenges to Trump victory are corrupt electoral votes or voters who have been bought off with Clinton Foundation under the table bribe money. And what could be done? He reminded me of how Stamp Act tax collectors were chased down the street and tarred and feathered Revolutionary War America. I told him I could not advocate for violence, and he said, "You don't have to." He said that these people will have business interests or close family relatives will. He said, "Make it known that the independent media will publish these interests should these electors' votes against the will of the people." As I have found out, there is concerted effort by an unknown force that is reaching out to electors and telling them exactly what's going to happen should they vote against the will of the people. How do I know? I'm a Republican political figure in Arizona this weekend, and they told me that they personally knew of electors who have already been these lines and they have second thoughts about their role in the upcoming vote. This revelation speaks to the fact that there is a distinct collusion between the Clinton Foundation and the Electoral College voters. Are we surprised? My message to these would-be criminals: there will nowhere that your assets can run and hide after the election. Corrupt electors will become the economic brown shirts of the Clinton Foundation. Although I cannot advocate for violent action, I have no compunction in recommending economic consequences to electors who accept bribes in any fashion. In conclusion, Justice Scalia's murder will soon be back in the public eye. How do I know? Let's just say that some very prominent people are working behind the scenes to expose the real reason why Scalia was murdered, and it ties into the Clinton interest. This information will be out soon. To concern ourselves with a fourth strategy related to how the Clintons are trying to steal the election, and it has to do with George Soros. I'm presently compiling information and have been disseminating it from multiple sources. Little investigation, I have learned how pervasive in its influence the Clinton Foundation has become. They are far bigger than any one of us could have originally imagined. Coming out as I write these words. Tab is off of the American Mirror, and it says Hillary's campaigns are early voting location in violation of North Carolina law. Hillary Clinton campaigned at on Sunday in Raleigh, North Carolina, in a potential violation of electioneering laws. Clinton was mobbed at the early voting location at Chavez Community Center, Rutgers reported. Luciana Lopez tweeted today. Luciana Lopez, their tweet says, Hillary Clinton getting mobbed at early voting, Chavez Community Center in Raleigh. Rapper Michael Gwynn also posted a photo from her appearance, claiming she decided to check it out herself. And the article goes on, but she wasn't just there to check it out. She blatantly campaigned. North Carolina Executive Director Lee Storo posted a photo noting Clinton was hanging at the polling site. Potentially a violation of state and local election laws. According to polling location regulations implemented by Wake County, the government unit that oversees electioneering laws, NCGS 163-166.4a states, no person or group of persons shall hinder access, harass others, distribute campaign literature, place political advertising, solicit votes, or otherwise engage in election-related activity in the voting place or in a buffer zone. The buffer zone will be 50 feet from the entrance to the polling place, except where deemed by the Wake County Board of Elections to be necessarily closer, but no less than 25 feet from the entrance to the polling place. There will be publication of information regarding the entrance location of the buffer zone no later than 30 days before the election. It's not clear whether Clinton was ever closer than 50 feet from the entrance to the location, but it is clear her intent voters outside the location. In March, Bill Clinton ended up in hot water after he appeared outside a polling location during the primary to rally. A Massachusetts voter was fuming after she said her polling location was shut to accommodate for a visit by the former president. Angela Grace posted cell phone video showing orange barrels and yellow police line tape at what she said was a New Bedford voting location. One person be able to come in and be able to vote in here. Everything is blocked off. No person can park here. They are affecting the voting at this poll. It's ridiculous. It's fraud and illegal, she declared while panning the camera across the scene, showing the media and police milling about while dozens of observers are cordoned off. From one side of the street to the other, there's no way anybody can get down here to vote. She laid the blame at the feet of the New Bedford mayor, John F. Mitchell, for Massachusetts, campaigning for Hillary and blocking this voting poll. No one has come here to vote in 2 hours. I've been here by the door, she wrote in the video description. And there's video in this one if you want to take a look at it. Off of Breitbart.com. Hillary Clinton had gun control supporters planted in town hall audience. Contained in WikiLeaks Podesta email release shows that Hillary Clinton had gun control supporters planted in town hall audience in Manchester, New Hampshire. Occurred on October the 5th, 2015, just 4 days after a man opened fire on Umpqua Community College campus in Oregon. In the email thread dated October 4th, 2015, a speech draft was passed around on behalf of Megan Rooney, contained to use to discuss guns in Manchester. The first part of the email reminded other campaign staffers that the town hall had no specific focus. Hang on. Although gun control would be highlighted. Let's see. It's going to try to play a video here. I got to get that stopped. All right. The part of this email that they're talking about says, here are short TPs about guns for the New Hampshire Community College Town Hall tomorrow. This is not a town hall exclusive about gun violence. It's just a regular town hall. Reminding everyone that there would be gun control plants at the town hall, that those plants would be from various gun control groups. Introduce Clinton. Story about gun violence. Well, now here we go with this thing. Let's get that stopped. The person who will introduce Clinton will tell a story about gun violence in her life, and there will be people in the audience from gun organizations. And the article goes on. It says the Manchester Town Hall was held at Manchester Community College, and the talking points advised Clinton to begin by saying, another mass murder, this time in a community college in Oregon, not like this one. A speech shows that she promised to make gun control a top priority, and controls like assault weapons ban and expansion of the list of persons barred from gun possession and more laws against straw purchases. The fact that Oregon Community College campus was gun-free zone, which means it had control, nor did she mention that the gunman acquired his firearms by background checks. There you have that article. The next one I have is also off of Breitbart.com. Or I'm sorry, no, it's not. It's off of rightwing.com. And we've got a It up here. .com. Breaking: James O'Keefe files suit against Hillary Clinton and the DNC. Project Veritas is filing formal complaint with the FEC against Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. O'Keefe has released two fantastic, one Hillary and DNC paying people violence at Trump rallies, and one on voter fraud. Firing and resignations ensue at the DNC. Scott Fogel, Americans United for Change, he was fired. Videos went so viral that the media was forced to cover them, much to the regret of Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee. Scott Fogel also admitted to O'Keefe that there are other activists being paid to do these dirty deeds. I would imagine it's widespread, and we have suspected all along. Project Veritas has now provided proof of it. Fogel admitted to bird dogging, which is having people, activists, place pressure on GOP supporters. In other words, churn up anger and violence among Trump supporters. They want chaos and anarchy. It says James O'Keefe told Breitbart News exclusively, as the chairman of Project Veritas, our work is and beholden on nobody, by thousands of contributors, small, medium, and large. What I have learned about our media, and it is frightening, is that almost everyone is compromised. Media companies are beholden to stockholders, and I have sources that I'm trying to get to go on the record to explain that these companies are afraid of reporting this story for fear of political retaliation. If the public knew the truth, I think it would change everything about American politics. O'Keefe's complaint states, this criminal conspiracy involves the knowing and willful creation of coordinated expenditures from prohibited corporate sources. As detailed in the Veritas transcript attached as Exhibit A, the supposedly independent speech third-party groups were detected, controlled, or perpetrated by HFA or the DNC. Indeed, the record establishes that not just simple violations of the FECA's coordination provisions, but ongoing knowledge and willful evasion of federal election law requirements through a complicated scheme. Conspiracy involves large numbers of employees, heightened travel, production, and distribution costs, and the nationwide scale of the operation. Upon information and belief, this penalties under 52 U.S.C. 30109 D1AI. By failing to abide, respondents misled the public about the true identity of speakers and funding sources for political protests and advocacy campaigns. Undermines the public's trust in the electoral process and allows elite political operatives to operate above the law. Memorandum detailed these actions. It also shows how they would work with an open borders advocacy group. Our key ally in Wisconsin, Box de Frontera Action, continues to field organizing in 9 areas of the state to boost turnout of Latino voters. They have a two-pronged approach to this activity. Documentation and citizenship assistance to allow new citizens to know their rights and gain the right to vote, create new voters from immigrants, and GOTV to get Latino voters to the polls through major data-driven outreach, maximize returns on investments in the effort. Protests and media campaigns targeted the Trump, Pence, Johnson, Sensenbrenner, Ryan to wake up the Latino electorate as to why they should vote against these candidates. These people are scum, and James O'Keefe is right to go after them legally. This has gone on, this has gone far. This has gone on far too long, and people need to answer for these evil machinations good for Project Veritas. That article. The next one that I have for you is off naturalnews.com. Analysis. Election outcome scenarios reveal 95% chance of widespread post-election violence. Streets of America with blood. My analysis of possible outcomes from the upcoming presidential election reveal that America has only has 5% chance of remaining peaceful after November 8th. Violence will occur on November 9th, but rather that events will be set into motion on that day, which will lead to an escalation of violence, 95% chance. Here are the scenarios I see unfolding, all based on the best available information right now. Scenario 1, Trump wins popular vote. Scenario 1A, 10% chance, Trump wins popular vote, but Democrats steal electoral vote to claim a victory, overriding the voters. Even though Donald Trump wins the popular vote, the Democrats have bribed enough electoral college representatives to sway the vote to Clinton, contradiction to their own state's voters. Expect mass protests, violence, bloodshed, and many legal challenges in those states where the electoral college votes do not reflect the popular vote. The Trump-supporting citizens of America will not accept a rigged election outcome. College votes are essentially stolen from the people. This would very quickly escalate into armed citizens marching in the streets and occupying key government buildings in an armed revolution against corruption. Scenario 1B, 60% chance, Obama declares Trump victory invalid. Hack the vote. In my analysis, this is most likely outcome of the upcoming election, and the Democrats have been narrative in advance with ridiculous claims that the Russians are WikiLeaks and that Trump is a Putin puppet. Clinton in the third debate. The purpose of all this is to create the narrative where a Trump victory can be declared invalid by Obama, despite all the talk among Democrats about how much they love and respect democracy. The simple truth is that they deeply hate it and don't trust it. There is almost no chance that Obama and the Clintons will voluntarily cede power to Donald Trump. A Trump victory invalid, all hell breaks loose across the nation, with leftists going full terrorism and taking up arms to defend democracy against the anti-American traitors in Washington, D.C. Scenario 1C, 5% chance, Democrats accept the Trump victory and agree to peacefully transition power. Even if Obama and the Clintons admit defeat and agree that Donald Trump is the next president, the liberal voters go nuts and begin firebombing buildings all across America. That's break out everywhere. Obama can then use this to declare martial law and, if he wishes, postpone the transfer of power to Donald Trump or blame him for all the violence, of course. Remember, the Democrats are already running mass staged violence across America. There's the link to projectveritasAction.com. It says they can easily stage riots, arsons, bombings, and much more in order to maximize chaos in the streets. 2. Clinton wins popular vote. Based on current information and considering just how much the official polls are completely rigged by deliberately oversampling Democrats, in my analysis, there's only a 25% total chance that Hillary Clinton wins popular vote. Here are the sub-scenarios under that 25%. Scenario 2A, 20% chance Clinton wins the reported vote, but Trump challenges the validity of the election results. The scenario with legal challenges to the mass election fraud, but could quickly escalate to military coup or an armed citizens' revolt where outraged Americans literally march on Washington regime in power. Expect huge bloodshed in this scenario. There's no question that roughly half of America simply cannot and will not accept Hillary Clinton as their president. She is too corrupt, too evil, and too dangerous to maintain the consent of the governed. Hillary Clinton is a serial criminal who must be indicted and imprisoned if America is to remain anything resembling a legitimate nation that respects law. Thanks to WikiLeaks and Project Veritas, everyone with a working brain now knows the Democrats are hopelessly corrupt and deeply invested in widespread voter fraud to steal the White House. 5% chance. Trump accepts the election results and tells supporters to get behind Hillary Clinton. If Clinton wins and Trump admits she won fair and square, which seems very unlikely, he could publicly call for everyone to back down and accept the Clinton presidency. I see the chance of this at only 5%. And then so many conservatives and patriots are going to be so angry at this outcome, they may decide to stage their own peaceful protests. Chance of mass violence in one form or another. The upshot of all this is that I see only a 5% chance of peaceful, nonviolent outcome to the election. Unbelievable scenarios, America descends into mass violence of one form or another. This is a direct result of the extreme polarization of political beliefs in America today, where we have an entire class of illiterate, ignorant Hillary Clinton supporters who only watch CNN and have no idea whatsoever criminals. Witness the depth of the Democrats' corruption in this Project Veritas Part 3 just released today. And that video is here for your viewing enjoyment if you want to pull that, look at it. The article goes on to say, on the other side, we have informed awake Americans who understand how this election is their very last chance to restore democracy by voting against the corrupt establishment. These two groups cannot reason with each other. They cannot compromise. And frankly, you can't even reason with Democrats anymore because they are so and brain damaged that they have utterly abandoned the very concept of the facts. To them, a fact is anything Hillary Clinton says, while a lie is anything Donald Trump says. So are we so far behind or beyond the realm of reason that Democrats are now essentially running America like a massive political cult steeped in delusion and mental illness? Believing in the lies of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton has very nearly become a psychiatric disorder, as they're rooted in such lunacy that only a mentally ill person could possibly believe them or vote for them. This vote on November 8th is not merely a vote to find out whether America will reject the insane corruption of Hillary Clinton. It's also a vote to find out whether the American people have collectively lost their minds. If Clinton wins, it means we will find ourselves living in a society of mentally ill zombies and cultists who are a danger to everyone, including themselves. Collapse will be initiated no matter who wins. Importantly, no matter who wins, the global is imminent, which means the entire scam of big government and high entitlement payouts is going to come to a catastrophic end. And that's mathematically guaranteed to unfold no matter who wins the presidency. Understand that if Donald Trump wins and takes office, the central bankers of the world will deliberately crash the system so that Donald Trump can be blamed for everything. Published an entire video detailing this scenario, and you can view it URL from Natural News. The one that I have for you is off of BizPack Review, and it says exclusive, an inside look at an opulent Clinton Foundation site visit. Clinton and 11 wealthy Clinton Foundation donors generously served meals to 250 underprivileged children July the 16th of 2014 at the Saya, I guess it's pronounced, Patra Kitchen in India, as TV cameras recorded the moment. Clinton's group then quietly Obore Ravalas, a five-star resort where the former chief executive booked into Koinor Villa, a 377 square foot luxurious villa with a 60-foot swimming pool, according to the hotel's management. The villa today goes for $13,900 per night. That right, $13,900 $1,900 per night, not including the 21% government tax, was 5 times as big as the average American home, according to U.S. Census Bureau data. Jaipur was the first stop of a 9-day, 5-nation Clinton Foundation junket organized for 7 billionaires and 4 multimillionaires as they crossed Asia and the Pacific Ocean in a custom-designed Boeing 757, originally built for nearly 300 passengers. Clinton flew separately in a luxuriously outfitted Gulfstream jet. Provides a glimpse into the lavish lifestyle of the Clinton Foundation and dozens of its wealthiest donors, all done in the name of charity, according to a Daily Caller News Foundation investigation. The sumptuous accommodations may also have run afoul of the IRS prohibition of excessive benefits for charity board members, staff, and staff donors. The Clinton access on this particular trip, several third world nations, Indonesian officials, for example, warned the foundation that Pangkalan Bun Airport's landing strip was too short for the Boeing 757 and that the party would have to switch to a smaller aircraft. Officially, the Indonesian stop was to visit a Clinton Climate Initiative project where a local forest reserve was being cultivated to offset carbon emissions, but flying 41 people, donors, their families, and foundation staff aboard an aircraft designed for nearly 300 people sent the trip's carbon footprint sky high. The trip, originating in New York, is headquartered, took the Clinton entourage to Jaipur and Lucknow, India, Hanoi, Vietnam, Banda Aceh, Indonesia, Gorka, Papua New Guinea, and Melbourne, Australia, for a round-trip total of 23,100 nautical miles. The 757 and Gulfstream burned 60,000 gallons of jet fuel worth at least $220,000 using current commercial aviation rates. 60,000 gallons of jet fuel, 200 tons side emissions, enough energy to power 21 average U.S. homes for a year. U.S. Environment Protection Agency. Passenger car, 478,000 miles in a year. Drive that many miles in a year. Wow. Okay. The Clinton entourage's carbon dioxide consumption exceeded a year's total emissions by countries like Guinea, Bissau, Tonga, the British Virgin Islands, Liechtenstein, and Solomon Islands, according to the World Bank. Spending can mean serious trouble for a charity and its top officials. It's certainly possible for the IRS to take a look at this and conclude that the Clinton Foundation people were the principal beneficiaries where they derived excessive benefits. Philanthropic and charity expert Leslie Lewandowski told the DCNF. When they use tax-exempt money, you're not supposed to enrich yourself. It is tax-exempt because the money is to be used for something called charitable purpose, Lewandowski said. At least 7 official foundation trips overseas between 2012 and 2015, sometimes accompanied by daughter Chelsea. The Liberal Foundation got into trouble in 2001 by spending $266,500 for 3 private jets that flew trustees from Michigan to Central America for site visits, much like the 2014 Clinton Foundation trek. Officials told the IRS in 2014 that $20.1 million was spent on travel. The Clintons' Health Access Initiative, CHAI, a separate entity, reported $13 million on travel the same year. Neither the foundation's auditor, PricewaterhouseCoopers, the foundation's 2014 annual report, or the foundation's 2014 IRS Form 990 tax return mentioned donor travel. A June 8, 2014 Foundation press advisory about the Asia Pacific trip said nothing about its cost or that the donors paid for the charter jets and the luxurious accommodations. Neither the Clinton Foundation nor the CHAI have written travel policies except for Clinton's family. The Clintons are entitled to first class or chartered travel for security reasons. Foundation's Form 990, it's banned. CHAI, the Clintons Foundation staff. 958 of the Internal Revenue Code addresses private benefits for philanthropic insiders, stating that private benefits involved anyone other than the intended charitable class. Such private interests may include insiders, related persons, or unrelated third parties. The prohibited benefit does not have to be cash. The penalty is the repayment of the excess benefit plus a 25% excise tax. Did donors pay for the 2 aircraft? DCNF that when a donor pays aircraft and hotel costs, they must be itemized as a non-cash contribution, and then the donation must be described. Donations for private aircraft appeared in 2014 Form 990s for either the Clinton's Foundation or the CHAI. Notes non-cash donations for securities, computer equipment, and furniture. CHAI only cites receipts. Clinton has accepted many free trips from wealthy friends. Infogroup CEO Vinod Gupta, for example, was forced to resign by the Securities and Exchange Commission for unauthorized expenditures, including $900,000 of travel he gave to Clinton and his family with the company's private jet. Former President Clinton and his family made improper personal use of the company's private jets, and Gupta did not reimburse the company for costs incurred in connection with the use. Clinton has also hopped on Saudi Crown Prince's Boeing 767 to Davos, Switzerland to attend the annual global meeting of business kingpins. Film producer Steve Bing's Boeing 737, $100 million Clinton Foundation donor Frank Gustraw's MD-87, an aircraft provided by Irish telecom tycoon Dennis O'Brien and Ron Burkle, who paid Clinton's at least $15 million to join his hedge fund with the United Arab Emirates Sheikh. The Clinton Foundation did not respond to queries submitted by the DCNF about the July 2014 trip. Have is off of BizPack Review, and it says leaked email reveals rampant practice of oversampling polls, complete with 37-page how-to guide. His supporters have called conspiracy theorists for claiming the polls that show Hillary Clinton with sizable lead are rigged. Her own campaign suggests suspicion is warranted. It's oversampled. Democrats an ABC News Washington Post poll was released showing Clinton with commanding 12-point lead over her Republican rival, while the same day WikiLeaks emails purported to show the 2008 Clinton playbook for how to manipulate polls to win an election. Tom Matzey, who was also involved in the leak that detailed how pushing the idea that President Obama was a Muslim could be, sent out an email to top Clinton officials discussing how to oversample polls and sell the narrative that Clinton had the election in the bag. They actually have this article. It says from Crystal King on January 17th, 2008. Forward is forward meeting and polling design to T. Matzey. A carbon copy was sent to Andy Meyer and George Akis. It says attached are the state-by-state polling and research recommendations atlas project or product that have been compiled into one document. Please let Andy or I know if you have any questions or need additional information. Crystal King. Then Mazzy writes back and says, hey, when can we meet? I also want to get your Atlas folks to recommend oversampling for our polling before we start in February. My market regions, etc. I want to get this all compiled into one set of recommendations so we can maximize what we get out of our media polling. The article goes on, says the email came attached to a 37-page guide on how to rig the polls. It has been suggested Hispanic and Black voters be oversampled in Florida, and the same for Hispanic and Native American voters in Arizona. Other bullet points include general election benchmark 800 sample with potential oversamples in key districts and regions, focus group research races among swing voter groups, benchmark polling in targeted races with ethnic as needed, targeting tracking polls in key races with oversamples as needed. The email is prime example of why no matter what the polls say, it's important to vote even when the media tells you they have no chance. The next one we have is also off of BizPac Review, and it says Hillary and McAuliffe weave another sordid web that may have protected Clinton from FBI email probe. To have a very bad day. A bombshell report from Wall Street Journal may cause people to forget about Bill Clinton's private meeting with Attorney General Loretta Lynch at the Phoenix airport, just as the FBI was about to wrap up its probe of wife Hillary's use of private email server. Of impropriety, new level, the WSJ reported Sunday evening that a PAC belonging to close Clinton ally Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe gave $67,500 to the campaign of the wife of a senior FBI official who oversaw the Clinton email investigation. Political organization of Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, an influential Democrat with long-standing ties to Bill and Hillary Clinton, gave nearly $500,000 to the election campaign of a wife of an official at the FBI who later helped oversee the investigation into Mrs. Clinton's email use. Campaign finance records show Mr. McAuliffe's Political Action Committee donated $467,500 to the 2015 state Senate campaign of Dr. Jill McCabe, Andrew McCabe, now the deputy director of the FBI. The Virginia Democratic Party, over which Mr. McAuliffe exerts considerable control, donated an additional $207,788 worth of support to Dr. McCabe's campaign in the form of mailers, according to the records. That adds up to slightly more than $675,000 to her candidacy from entities either directly under Mr. McAuliffe's control or strongly influenced by him. The figure represents more than a third of all campaign funds Dr. McCabe raised in the effort. The newspaper said McAuliffe and other state party leaders recruited Dr. McCabe to run. She would go on to lose the election to incumbent Republican State Senator Dick Black. The FBI said in a statement that Andrew McCabe assumed an oversight role in Clinton's investigation months after the completion. The reporters behind the story later posted a clarification on Twitter, noted by Twitchy.com, and they have those tweets listed here. Delvin Barnett says, apparently needed underlining FBI probe of Clinton email was launched in July of 2015. Big McAuliffe donations to FBI sponsor 2 months later. And another one says, doesn't mean they are connected, but don't mistake the order of events. Server found, campaign launched, email probe, donations, promotion. And there's several more tweets in this if you want to look at those. Wow. Can't make this stuff up. Next one is off BizPack Review. It says, "Don't go there. Black Trump supporter lays the smackdown on in fiery debate." The mood wasn't too friendly on Fox and Friends Monday when black Donald Trump supporter and a black Hillary Clinton supporter squared off. After condescendingly laughing at pro-Trump Brunel Donald Kai after she said, "God bless you and God bless America," Clinton backer and Democratic strategist Brian Benjamin spent the first portion of his interview explaining how Clinton is, in fact, a hot sauce auto, while he simultaneously claimed she wasn't pandering to black voters. Dosey pressed the point that the recent WikiLeaks email showed that the Clinton campaign considering having the Democrat nominee use a "yo mama" joke. "We want jobs, we want better schools, we want improvement in our communities, we want investment in our communities," Donald Kai said. "We don't want yo mama jokes. We want black empowerment. That's what we want." Argue that Trump isn't paying attention to issues between the police and black community, but Donald Kai was having none of it. Bill Clinton were a big part of that with the crimes bill in 1994. You know that, she shot back. Mass incarceration happened under Bill Clinton, and his wife was okay with that, so don't go there. They're trying to fix a problem that they started. Let Donald Trump fix it. Benjamin had no answer for those charges, thus reverting to calling Trump a racist, but again, Donald Key was ready for him. And Taco Bowl and needy Latinos. Really? Are we going to go there? She fired back, referencing terms reported in campaign and officials, according to WikiLeaks emails. Catholics are bastardized. Are we going there? Benjamin said. "I will," Donald Kai said. "WikiLeaks has put it all in the streets, sir. I read about corruption, and the video is in this article if you want to pull that up and take a look at that one." The next one we have here is off BizPack Review. It says, "Brazil tries to claim hacked emails were altered. Server code proves otherwise." Cryptographic signatures demonstrate the Democratic National Committee Chairman Donna Brazile was wrong when she suggested the WikiLeaks emails were altered and that she did not send an email tipping off Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton to debate questions. Many email systems use verification system called domain keys identified mail, DKIM, that shows whether email has been changed. It uses a key stored on the email server that sent the email, so it can't be forged. Uses Gmail to handle its mail and used DKIMs, and staffer Jennifer Palmieri, using her HillaryClinton.com email, replied to Brazile's email warning that Brazile was worried about Clinton's ability to answer a question about the death penalty that she said would be asked at an upcoming debate. She copied Podesta, who also used Gmail, presumably so that he could encourage Clinton to prepare for the question. The emails were hacked from Podesta's account by WikiLeaks, but Clinton's campaign and Brazile have all claimed their contents have been falsified. Of the DKIM signature by the Daily Caller News Foundation against HillaryClinton.com's key shows that Palmieri did, in fact, send the exact email to Podesta that WikiLeaks says she did. The email from Brazile had a subject line of, "From time to time, I get the question in advance. Here's one that worries me about HRC," followed by the full text of a question about the death penalty. Clinton was indeed asked the question at a debate by moderator Roland Martin. Brazile claimed that the emails were doctored by Russian sources, wouldn't share debate questions with candidate ahead of time. Brazile became Democratic National Committee chairman after her predecessor, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, resigned amid accusations that she was helping Clinton Bernie Sanders in the primaries. When Fox News' Megyn Kelly asked Brazil about the impropriety of sharing debate questions in advance with candidates, Brazil claimed she was being persecuted by the question. Brazil then called Daily Caller reporter Chuck Ross so unprofessional for asking for evidence that the email wasn't real. Unfortunately for Brazil, she doesn't understand DKIM. Ran code to confirm that email was valid as provided by WikiLeaks. The only way it could be false is if Palmieri herself changed the body of Brazil's email before to it and copying Podesta. The DCNF downloaded the raw source of the email here, and there's a link that you can put it up if you want to see it. It says, then ran the following code in Python, import DKIM, data open, and some numbers after that, email message from string data, objective DKIM object verify. And says the true means this email was not tampered with. There's a picture of all that if you want to pull it up and take a look at it. In that article for you is off of conservativetribune.com, and it says Hillary literally refers to the New Yorker Times as our press. Clinton campaign email that she's going to have to explain away. This time, though, she's dragged New York Times along with her. Free Beacon, the latest batch of emails called the New York Times our press and lamented that a puff piece about Hillary Clinton, in which her campaign had over the quotes used by the by, wasn't fawning enough. The emails revolved around a profile by writer Mark Leibovich titled Reintroducing Hillary Clinton, which was published in July of 2015. In one email chain, Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta, asked what the story had been. Kind of felt like he wasn't, or I'm sorry, I kind of felt like he wasted the effort, kind of a reporter's sketch rather than an interesting observation, Podesta wrote. Apparently he wasted an opportunity to fawn upon her excellency. What's wrong with him? Communications director Jennifer Palmieri agreed, saying that there was not a lot of reaction. And positive that it was a sympathetic portrait of how hard it was for her, she wrote. However, she noted that was unhappy with it. She's unhappy with it, Palmieri wrote. Huma, Christina, and I, she's upset about our continued bad relationship with our press. Emphasis added, but there you go. I told her that you can't see it. We're all making improvements and how to give it some more time, she continued. We'll do ours. And I were also doing some about this, unquote. Our press, wow. Establishment says about the New York Times in private. Its gray lady is in bed with every left-leaning candidate out there. However, for Hillary and her campaign to recover or to refer to them as our press shows how utterly biased they are. Why would anyone possibly pay attention to them? So there you have that article. Next one that we have here is off of the gatewaypundit.com. Hillary took Algeria off terror watch list after donation to the Clinton Foundation. The document reveals Hillary Clinton took Algeria off the U.S. terror watch list after they made a hefty donation to the Clinton Foundation project. The Clinton camp was discussing Joe Scarborough's discussion on Algerian donations to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton advisors the move in the email saying legal in gray areas, and there is a copy of these emails if you want to pull them up and take a look at them, and tweets and but you know, bottom line is she did something clearly illegal there, and yet she walks among us. This one and the last one that I have in this for you is off of worldpolitics.com. It says, new bombshell. This is the end for Hillary disclosed classified secrets to foreign leaders for cash. Well, excuse me, I'm skeptical. End for a long time ago. It's like a little boy that cried wolf, isn't it? But anyway, we'll read this one. It says the leaked emails from WikiLeaks revealed that Hillary Clinton shared classified information with some Canadian businessman about investigation and the killing of Osama bin Laden, according to World News Politics. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge reported on Fox News Tuesday that Clinton gave the speech to a group of business leaders in November of 2013. In the Clinton speech, she specifically discussed sources and methods of the raid that led to Osama bin Laden's assassination, Herridge said. Discussing that information appears to be a violation of national security, Herridge noted. Clinton told the business group that an intercepted phone call was part of the intelligence trail that led to bin Laden's compound in Pakistan. According to former special ops official Dan, Clinton showed no respect for classified information. Operation security is paramount, McGuire said. He added that the revelation Clinton shared this information shows a lack of integrity and discipline on the part of those who looked into the incident. He stated that Fox News inquired if Clinton had been cleared to share this classified information at the time of her speech, but had not received an answer from the CIA. Herridge also pointed out an infuriating double standard. This was paid speech by Hillary Clinton, Herridge said. She noted that the U.S. government recently took legal action against former Navy SEAL Matt Bissonnette for disclosing information in his book, No Easy Day. The former Navy SEAL paid for revealing the information, so if there's any justice, Hillary should face the same penalty, if not worse. She should not only lose the election, she should go to jail for treason. And that is all I have for you in this special edition this evening. I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a thumbs up, share it around, get the word out. Bye.